Blast off.
How's it going, guys? And welcome back to another Q&A. Today we're joined with Mod Matt K.
Yep.
Mod Kieran.
Hello.
Mod John C.
Nah.
Hiya.
Mod Ash.
Hi.
Mod Alfred. And myself, Mod Archie. Before we get anywhere, we had a couple new updates today, as you guys may or may not have noticed. We do have an image with this, actually. As you can see, Fishing Trawler has created some hype.
Yeah, it has.
It's the talk of the town right now. Pretty cool. So, well done, guys, who worked on the Angler's outfit, was it called? Angler's outfit.
Angler's outfit, yeah.
That's it. It's a different name.
It's awesome seeing a fishing trawler so
you can see that.
so full of players and life.
What was this, like 14K? I think that was.
Sailing confirmed.
It's good to see that back to life again, actually, isn't it?
I've never actually played it before.
We've also got the Slayer extensions. Do you want to touch on those real quick?
Do you want to talk about them, Ash? You made them.
Well, it wasn't that hard actually. I just added a few more Slayer extensions along with all the ones I programmed before.
Did you rebuild that interface?
I added an extra tab to it, and also that feature where if you buy more than one Slayer expansion at a time, it now gives you a 5% discount on the points, which might come in handy for those of you who want all of them. Now there's, I think, 19 in total.
Although there is one thing the whole team did contribute to, and that's all the puns for the task for the extension names.
Oh, that was a good meeting.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun with it.
And then lastly, we have the in-game bug report forum.
Finally.
Yes. How are you guys appreciating that? I imagine quite flooded today.
It's awesome. It's not been too... It's not overly busy. It's a nice steady flow coming in. A couple of trolls that are muted. Because there's nice... It comes in on our support systems. There's a nice big mute and ban button right next to it. So it's always nice. So, yeah, that's what'll happen if you start abusing it. No, it's great. So,
Yeah.
So
It's really
keep sending
nice.
us bugs. We'll keep getting them fixed.
Whereas Ronan? Ronan is off learning how to meme.
I think a different picture he taught out the other day, earlier. I think he's probably teaching everybody else how to do it. Because he is the pro memer. I think we all know that, really. Yeah.
And then there was the Slayer combat level update today that wasn't quite so obvious. It used to be from 2005 when Slayer came out that the Slayer Masters would check your combat level when you were being assigned a task, so they wouldn't assign anything that was ridiculously hard for you. Like, they wouldn't give you Dark Beasts if you weren't high-level combat. Trouble is, a lot of them had been written what you might call conservatively. So you needed level 110 combat before they'd give you Dark Beasts. And you needed, I think, 100 before they'd give you a Steel Dragon. And 75 before they give you a Mithril Dragon. It was not what you call consistent or good. Anyway, so in the recent poll 34, we offered to take away the combat level checks. And that passed fairly comfortably, I think, and we did it. The thing is, for lower level players, that's really not very helpful because, you know, you're going to Vanica and he gives you a whole load of bronze dragons. You might always not be able to do anything about it. So rather than having everyone going to Turo all the time, we agreed we'd put the requirements back again, except with a toggle. So you get to decide now whether you want the Slayer Masters to try and avoid giving anything too hard, or whether you'll take whatever comes at you and jolly well try to slay it. Mostly, I left the combat level checks as they were before. There's a few exceptions. Dark Beasts I did not leave on 110 combat because I really don't think that needed to be there. I think I went with 90 for that one. And similarly, I kept most things the same but reduced one or two that seemed excessive. I'll post a list later if I get a chance.
All right.
Well, there was a question, actually, Paul asked a question. There's apparently a rumour going around about Zulrah being nerfed. I got a tweet earlier today which I thought was a bit odd, which is just a rumour at the moment. What's happening with Zulrah at the moment in the drops is we're waiting for some information to find out what's going on with the drops, where they come from, and then we'll talk to you about what it is, and then we'll make changes if we need to. There might not be a need to make changes, so we'll just play it by ear, but we'll let you know what's going on. So until we hear from us, it's happening, it's not happening. So there you go.
Data.
Okay. A lot of people tend to think that there's all these super top secrets floating around that we're so scared to share, but no, typically, when we find something out, we tell you guys as quick as we can.
Yeah, pretty much. Most of the important stuff anyway, you know.
Yeah.
Things such as all the stuff we've got secret for Runefest, I think, is another kettle of fish.
Well, we do have secrets. We generally quite like to shout about that. Oh, we've got a secret.
Yes.
We keep the
That's
April
true.
1st updates a secret each year as best we can.
Yes. And I suppose the only thing that might be perceived as a secret recently was when we made the changes to AFK training, but that was because we got the information and made the change within an hour, so it wasn't a secret, it just moved incredibly quickly from getting the information to making the change.
And about 20 minutes after we'd made the change, we came down here and
told you about it. So that's the only reason you might think they're secrets, but that was only because it just happened so quickly.
Also, we didn't know it was going to happen at that exact moment. We just got the data back on Thursday afternoon and found, well, we've got time to do something with that now, just before the live stream. Let's do it.
Yeah, so that's how that worked.
All right.
Yeah.
First question of the Q&A.
Yeah. Oh, 6 minutes in.
Ready?
Running late there a bit, Chris.
It's all right.
Better time.
It's a bit of an icebreaker, actually. It's not our typical question, but I'm all right with that. The Shade Tree, asks, question to each of the JMods. If you had full control of the game yourself over the next few months and could make any update, what would it be?
Control.
See, I know I would do.
We have to work on the assumption that anything we wanted to create would be well received as well.
No.
No?
This is purely something for you. Think very like just not caring what other people think. Just doing what you purely want to see.
You see, I mean, when we discussed this earlier, didn't we? We sort of came, well, we want to do what the players want to do.
Yeah.
And assuming that the players wanted what we want to do, what would our priority be? And mine was, I mean, we've spoken about this in the past, is sort of creating some sort of server that you can run yourself and you can change things within it, so you can develop your own version of RuneScape, kind of like Minecraft. You get your own server, you put your mods on it, you make changes, and then you host your own games on that. I like to do that sort of thing with Old School. That'd be my thing. Technically a big challenge for everybody if we were to do that.
No, I smash it out afternoon.
That's a fun idea, though.
Yeah, no, I'd love to do that sort of thing. That'd be really cool.
Kieran?
Sailing.
Just like, didn't pass, too bad.
Yeah, I'd have to say selling as well. That was my child.
Fair enough.
Bank presets. Well, not presets, I mean, like a placeholder thing, so you can just set a slot to have an item in it even though you've withdrawn the item, and then you can, well, keep that spot for it when it comes back again. I'd like to do that. Got some ideas about how to do it, just need a fair bit of time to experiment with it, and a little engine support as well. Probably not a huge amount of engine support, but it would nevertheless need to be done, and there's often a bit of a queue on that.
It'd be a godly update to have placeholders for everything.
And they can use the same logic for RS3 as well.
Oh, the size comparison. A new skill, bank placeholders. Trump. Alfie.
If I could pick anything, it'd probably be some mini games, so something like Fist of Gothics or what was the other one?
Stealing Creation.
That's it, Stealing Creation.
Solrus.
You wouldn't have defense
Souls,
resets.
maybe. Oh yeah, actually I would have defense resets.
Yeah.
Oh, and I'd also add it so that Pures can go into Apatol.
No.
Anyway.
So
No.
a bunch of pure updates.
Yeah, a bunch of Pure updates.
Yeah.
See, I played my cards wisely to get 99 range before I got my myth gloves.
Yeah, but
Someone
I
else
want
did.
rune gloves now. So.
Alright. What would I say? I would say, I think we're going to pull this. I would make Void degradable on death. Right?
Oh, that's nice.
And I would introduce a slight nerf. Slight to Void range, only the range. What else would I do? Dragon Claws, PvP armor.
Yeah, I would like to.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd love to do pure specific
Karasi.
armor as well. So much
No,
stuff I'd
not
like to do,
Karasi.
but
Here, have this.
Chris
Alright.
just got teabagged.
oh dear.
Okay, thanks for that.
You're welcome. Next question.
This is an actual question. Brungus asks, has Darkscape given you any ideas or insight about how to create Dead Man mode?
Yes.
Well, apparently, if you have everyone respawning in Lumbridge all the time and it's a PvP area, you end up with really weird crowding. So they changed that, and we might learn from it.
Yeah, I think we'll have people spawning in different places when they first go into game. I think when the Lumbridge won't be a dangerous area, but I can still see the same issues coming up. So, got to get people out into the world before without all being in the same place.
I really like the idea of how they have GE in different parts of the map,
Yeah.
and you have to walk from certain parts of that GE. No, so you have to walk from that GE to the other GE to get the resources across.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And that's really kind of scary if you think about it. Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe for you.
Yeah. Oh.
Zephyrs asks, can you reflect on why you feel the 75% threshold is required for a poll to pass? Seems there are a lot of people that are very upset the sailing didn't pass. Go figure. As well as a good chunk of people actually saying they regret voting no after they read the dev blog, after they voted no.
Yeah, I suppose the learnings there really are read the dev blog before voting, and if you want new content, it needs to pass to 75. The reason why is because players asked for it to be 75% right at the beginning when we brought out Old School. I think we spoke about it briefly, changing it. Did we even polled it? We polled it. There we go.
Failed.
I wonder if we did, but that failed. Yeah.
We polled changing it to 70, and that didn't pass, and that it didn't even get 70. If it got 70, I'd feel bad about it, but it was, well, I think slightly less popular than sailing.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
75 it remains.
Exactly. I mean, the way I look at it with the polling, whether it works or not, is you look at what's failed a poll and what do you really want from something that's failed a poll, and there isn't a huge amount. There's probably, 50, 60 things which are updates, but most of them are like nice to haves rather than, I think one thing I described it as table flippingly good stuff. So, if you want really big updates, I mean, there's probably only about 3 or 4 which are really massive ones that haven't passed, and 2 of those are skills. But things are passing, so, freeze play passed, Dead Man Mode passed, God Wars passed,
So,
The
sailing
GE was a
didn't
bit
pass.
of a
Zaya.
difficult one.
Yeah, GE passed,
Achievement diaries.
achievement diaries, it's huge bits of content
Zaya.
passing. So.
yeah, Zaya passed.
Yeah, Zaya as well, yeah. That's all
right, yeah.
passed. So, big content has been passed, and, I think 75% is working fine. I don't see it being much of an issue at all.
For what it's worth, if we took away the restriction or lowered the restriction, it wouldn't mean that the amount of content coming out would be 3 times more, because there's only so fast it gets developed anyway. So if more stuff passed, well, we'd end up polling fewer things because we'd only be developing as fast as we can anyway.
Yeah, indeed.
I think what it boils down to is that, if you've voted for something and it hasn't passed, no matter what the threshold was set out, whether it was 75, 66, 80 or 50, you're going to want it changed to whatever you needed to get it through.
Now, we are waiting at the moment for the web team to have a chance to do some changes to the poll form for us. In particular, once they've made some of the changes we've asked for, a while back now, then some of the other questions about polls would have a much better chance of passing. So last time we offered abstain, it didn't pass. But once the web team's made these changes, I reckon abstain would be able to pass. And I think that will make quite a difference to the outcomes of various polls. Because there's so many things where, people either don't know what it means because they didn't read the blog, or they just don't care, or they don't mind either way because it's never going to affect them. And I really think that has a chance of passing in future when we've got these other poll changes made.
Indeed.
All right. There's just another add-on to that question. I just noticed saying he doesn't believe that 3 yes votes should be required for every 1 no vote, which was also shared. I don't know, thoughts of the community, it seemed.
Yeah.
Which is a bit tough, but that's kind of how it has to be.
There's also the fact that the game at the moment has all these people playing it, and it's if a feature doesn't pass, the game hasn't had that feature for like 2 years, and it wasn't exactly the end of the world because everyone is here, and I don't think everybody's suddenly going to quit because they didn't get the thing they were hoping for, because well, reasonably they know they'll get something else instead because we will keep polling things based on what they ask for instead. Whereas if we made a change and slightly more than half the players liked it and the other half were up in arms and hated it, that's the kind of thing could really drive people away from the game.
That's a very good point. And we'll continue on that point in just a minute, but first, since sailing didn't pass, does this mean an earlier release of Zaya?
Yes. Q1
That's
next
the big
year.
one.
Yeah, we'll bring first batch of Zaya. The first batch of Zaya is all skilling related, so it's a skilling update effectively for everybody out there with some exploration stuff in there, so you can all see a brand new city. Watch the Rune Fest stream and we'll take you through some of the detail there, which is in 2 weeks on Saturday, isn't it, Rune Fest?
I'm really looking forward to working on Zaya. I mean, I was really looking forward to working on sailing too, but
I'm still looking forward to working on Zaya, don't worry.
Yeah.
Yeah, got some fantastic things, you're going to really enjoy it, so lots of skilling update, beginning of the year, next year.
It
All
is
good.
time for a skilling update, and not in the sense of adding a new skill either, but doing stuff with the existing ones. There's been a lot more demand for that in the last priority survey.
Yeah, I mean, something to add as well when it comes to sailing is the next step with sailing is everybody. We've got a list of everyone who's voted no on sailing. we will be getting in touch with those guys and finding out why they voted no, and then we can have a look and see what comes from that, and whether we should repoll it again in the future, whether changes need to happen, whether it's just the wrong time for it, we don't know. So sailing may come in the future, we'll have to wait and see, but we need to hear back from the people who voted no.
Mm-hmm.
We also have reduced their luck variable from 1 to 0. Not really.
Did you tweet out asking for reasons why?
Yes, yeah, basically the reason for that was so I could get everyone's reason for voting no, and then when in the survey we put out, I'll put all those reasons into it, and people can then just click the ones that apply to them, and then we get an idea of what people are talking about. So that was the reason behind that.
Okay. Last, what happened since sailing didn't pass? Will we be repolling it? You kind of said we'll be looking at that.
If it's worthwhile doing, yeah. I mean, it all boils down to what the reasons were. If the reasons were a particular piece of it wasn't good enough, then we will look at changing that and maybe polling it. Not this year, certainly, I don't think, but some point next year we may look at polling it. It could just be, I mean, a lot of the feedback I'm getting is that there's a lot of issues that people want fixed in the game before we before they want something as big as a new skill in there. So maybe we look at that if that's the case. So focus on those first, get them sorted and out of the way, and then we can. People might be more willing to another big content. Equally, it might just be that people just didn't want it, and if they don't want it, we're not going to repoll it.
And in that case, hopefully we could see ideas like Gemstone Cavern and Fossil Island repolled
absolutely
separately.
Different areas. We've got a whole new continent to fill with stuff. So
Rigor and Augury, seeing that in the chat.
Yeah, but we need to get the data put together so we can find out the reasons why. And once we've looked at the data, we can analyse the data properly. Get the data teams to
You're teasing the news.
If there's anybody out there who's got a thing where they take a swig of their drink every time he says data, they must be having a very interesting streak.
We don't encourage
I'm
that.
totally doing that.
I didn't say it had to be any particular kind of drink. I've got a drink.
I like my drinking games. I'm doing that next week when I'm on holiday.
And when he says data warehouse, got to count the whole thing.
Get my yard of beer out.
It's a bit hot for that.
Right, that's sailing out of the way.
Take a shot when my Ash needs restarting.
And all those discussions about drinking lemonade.
Yep.
And not any other sort of drink. Carry on.
There's water, actually. Ed asks, can fishing trawler also be played solo for Ironman?
For the moment, the fishing trawler is not instanceable. The code would have to be effectively deleted and rewritten from scratch to let us make an instance. So at the moment, if we said, sure, an Ironman can go as a solo fishing trawler, it would mean everyone else on the server has to go do something else because the Ironman has reserved the fishing trawler all for themselves. That's obviously not something we're going to do. So if people are okay with us spending dev time on it, and it would be a fair bit of dev time and testing time, we can rewrite the trawler to be instanced and then have multiple versions of it running at the same time on the world, which would allow lots of Ironmen to go at the same time, all by themselves, and multiple parties of non-iron players, what you call non-iron player, bronze, whatever they are, could go at the same time rather than having to wait for the last trip to come back.
Seeing a lot of no's in the chat.
I did see one suggestion that we let them do it, but don't let them get any of the fish, and they just run the chance of getting the fishing outfit piece.
This is just going to be mean.
That would be a way of doing it without having to obviously instance the whole thing.
Pretty sure we did actually poll letting Ironmen go on the trawler when we started this.
Yeah.
I know it didn't pass. I don't remember how close it was though.
Okay. God's Defense asks, can the click box be improved on the mounted glory amulet in the playground house? I swear we already did this.
We did do that.
We tried. Perhaps an artist can do a better job.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Just make.
Are there any other areas?
Stick a bunch of invisible polygons around the outside of it or something.
I'll try that.
I tried that myself, but maybe you can do it and make it work.
Yeah.
If there are any other areas you think the click zone should be increased, tweet them at JagXAlfred.
Just drop me in a
I'm
bug
just
report.
literally going to put one polygon there and increase the size. That's it.
Yeah,
Oh dear, you know what you've just done, though?
It hasn't worked.
You've just admitted to making a job really easy, so everyone's going to ask you for every item now.
No
Yeah.
excuses now. Okay, this next question has an image, I believe. Live asks, can we pull these ideas for new Lunar spells? So he's got a few interesting ideas. Some we have seen before, some we haven't. Unfortunately, we can't read them all as there's a chat screen in the way, slightly there, but you can get an idea.
I can read them from here.
Super Fertilise, Wine
I can't.
Purification, Harmony
Well, the
Island,
chat can see them,
Teleport,
so that's what
Group
matters.
Vengeance, Skilling Kit, Fruit
There we go,
Refill,
very good.
Flax to String, Crop Revive, Gaze, Potion Endurance, Defense Uprise, and Momentary Clarity.
So what's wine purification?
I would assume it increases your... what's the word I'm looking for? You have fermenting rate with wine?
What?
Wow.
Maybe it's wine to Zami wine.
All that?
Maybe it turns bad wine into good wine.
Maybe it turns wine back into grapes.
What?
I doubt it.
Okay.
Maybe it
Realistically,
turns it into
though,
water.
the spell that was...
We do have a whole new continent coming up at the beginning of next year.
I believe you have
With
scope
some-
for a new spell.
Well, I think we have scope for a new spell book, but we also have scope for maybe somebody from the Lunar Isle have managed to find their way over there and able to do some stuff to give you some of this stuff, I think.
Lunar Isle is fairly western already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd certainly like some of them. The Harmony Island teleport one would be nice because that's not a very nice place to get to.
Especially since I stuck a firing patch on it.
I wouldn't mind seeing
Yeah.
Group Vengeance come back.
Was it used? Really?
Yeah.
It used a few
Mostly
times.
to annoy people, but it was used.
Yeah. The spell that was actually supported the most out of that list there was players asking for the Strings Flax to Bowstring spell. That seemed like an interesting one because it would train fletching and magic.
Crafting.
Is it crafting?
Yeah,
Wow.
Crafting.
I haven't done that in ages.
It's really bad crafting XP, but what about super?
Everyone's been there though.
I assume super fertilize means a compost level above super compost.
Well, it might be an actual super compost, but
Yeah,
fertile soil.
fertile soil does super
oh,
compost.
does it?
So
Well, in that case, we've got scope for a new form of compost, Uber compost. I've always liked to call it.
Yeah, I had a concept. for
that'd be a
for
cool
some
thing.
time.
in my opinion.
I think they even called it Uber Compost.
So obviously some good ideas in there. We're gonna have to hang on to those.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely. Yeah.
review them at a later date for sure.
Email them to me. Write down to email them to me, and I'll stick them on the thing for Claire.
I can just take the screenshot and send it to you.
Yeah, either or whatever.
Or
So you
write them
tell
all
me, 'cause
down.
otherwise I'll forget.
I just wrote down Lunar spells, that'll do.
Good guy, Kieran. Next question. I'm Sean asks, is the 2xp weekend only for RS3? Yes. Has Old School's opinion changed on double XP weekends yet? That's the
No.
real question.
No. I mean, it's your whether you want it or not, but I don't think you do.
First
In fact, we
poll?
should do a straw poll, yeah. Definitely a straw poll, and we should have double XP weekends.
Should Old School RuneScape see its first double XP weekend? That'll be in the chat for you guys to vote on momentarily. Until then, next question.
I think so.
All right. Fist asks, how will looting players' banks in Deadman mode work? Will there be an interface pop up with items in it, or will dead players not be able to access their bank for X amount of minutes after dying?
Do you want to do it, or shall I do it?
You do it.
Yeah, I'll do it. It's going to be an automated process. Basically, we went through it, the issues that this guy raised are completely valid. If we can't let a player access the bank for a certain amount of times, it causes all sorts of problems, especially if there's issues with servers and whatnot. So what's going to happen is when you die, the top 28 spaces in your bank that are worth the most according to the GE will get transferred over automatically. It sort of happen instantly at that time of death. Mainly so that people don't lose access to their bank, and then it all breaking because somebody disconnects badly or the server has an issue or what have you. So you're not going to physically go to a bank with a key, which was our first thought, and then take the items out that you want. The 28 most expensive slots of items will just move over into your bank. If you don't have space in your bank, it will drop them on the floor underneath you, I think we've said. Might go to your inventory first, can't remember. But that's what will happen.
That's interesting.
There will also be a space in the bank where players can store some items in there as well, so they can save some items.
I was just thinking, you imagine dying to somebody and then rushing to your bank and watching him take your items out of your bank.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Stop.
That would be horrific,
Oh
wouldn't
no,
it?
not
But-
that!
We can even give a message of what's been taken.
Yes, yeah, absolutely, yeah. The whole
Someone
server,
took your
server
AG, yeah.
message.
Yeah.
So everybody can see what's been nicked.
Just do the value. Our mod Mac here has just killed Mod Ash and taken 1.7
Yeah.
billion.
Ooh.
Yeah,
By the way, their
that'd be quite
location is blank.
nice. Yes, exactly.
All right, so we have the results from that straw poll. Would you like Old School to see its first ever double XP weekend?
It's nice to know we're still on the button. I think we're nicely on the button there.
Yeah.
63% no.
That's still got more support than I expected.
Yeah.
Did we get a second straw poll in there? Could we get a second straw poll? Would you like Old School to see a half XP weekend?
That was funny last time we did that.
That'll be all
There was
yes.
two
Well,
numbers on it.
we'll get it. I think can't see that being a good
This
thing.
is where they
really.
vote 90%. We have
Yeah.
to actually poll it.
Those two numbers will literally swap.
Okay. Right, real questions. Tutorial asks, can the Brimhaven Agility Arena be buffed to compare that XP to the XP of the Rooftop Agility experience?
Yeah, I watched a friend's video yesterday as well. I'd be perfectly happy to just flat out double the experience it provides. 'Cause, he made the point that that's how agility probably was envisaged to be in the first place, that it's randomised, it's fun, and well, it's a bit more fun than just constantly doing the same lap around the same agility course. And the XP rate doesn't compare, it's around 22k an hour at best, and which just isn't viable. So I'm perfectly open to...
I actually really like the agility arena. It's
fun,
so
that's
much
the
more
thing, isn't
interesting.
it is.
I think
than
everybody
lab.
likes it,
Yeah.
although nobody
At least
uses
once
it.
you pass that level where you fail the darts and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Could we find an opportunity to stick in a unique reward that's also only available there? Give it some other reward.
I
There
like
was
Captain
the-
Easy No Beard's hat.
There was the idea to bring Marks of Grace there, but that doesn't make a ton of sense. Maybe?
Not so much. Could we get Captain Izzy's parrot as a thing you can wear on your shoulder?
If it goes in the cape slot, I'd imagine that was fine. It shouldn't click with anything
Would
else.
that pass a pull? That's not a pet, it's a
Part of
No,
the
yeah,
arm.
it'd be a worn
It
item.
would be part of the
Oh,
arm,
okay, that's
so
fine.
I'd probably could.
That would clip with a lot of things if it wasn't in the cape slot. You can make it take it both.
You could have a talk option on it.
Wow.
Oh, a talk option.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Real quick, we
What
have
do
the
you, what do you
results.
think?
I'm not telling them.
We have the results for
I can
would you like
guess.
to see a half XP weekend in Old School, and that's sitting at 72%.
That's close
I
enough.
don't think they really mean that somehow.
I think they're kind of trolling us.
Well, the question might be whether they play during it.
Shall we pull it?
Could I get another straw poll up for, would you like us to just flat out double the experience from Brimhaven Agility Arena? That'd include tickets as well.
Okay.
I know what they do on a half XP weekend. All the pures would go and do the things where they're scared of getting defense XP. So they've got a better chance of not getting to a level when they do
The
it.
give XP reward is not tied into double XP weekends. I think we should apply the same rule here.
But how would you feel about doing like a high level version of the Brimhaven Agility Arena?
That's
I think because the content's already there, it just don't need to.
So it's a bit more dev intensive.
It's
Yeah.
pretty good as is also.
Yeah.
It is.
And also, if it got bigger, then we'd have a real interesting time trying to get people around it more. Because the size of the room
That's
really
probably
makes a
more
difference
thinking
there.
somewhere else.
It's
Like,
surrounded by Brimhaven dungeons.
There's a real straw poll in the chat. We'd actually appreciate your legitimate opinions.
Yeah.
Would
This
you
looks like
like
the
the Brimhaven Agility Arena to be double XP?
Yeah, that'll take it up to about 44,000 experience per hour at max.
How does that compare to Rooftop?
RD with the 90 requirement is 58, if I remember correctly. Relica's around 54. Actually, no, it's Relica's 58. RD's 64, maybe.
but you can realistically do this at level 50-ish.
Yeah, you can probably do it efficiently at around 55. So
And that's sitting at
Is that
86%.
right, isn't it? That seems
Write
like an
that
easy
down.
win, doesn't it?
It's a good idea.
Yeah, that's a good
Yeah.
one.
I think everybody loves the Brimhaven Agility Arena, and it's really
Oh,
sad
absolutely,
that
yeah.
you leave it.
it is genuinely fun.
Okay. Good question. Next question is from Slav Veritas, who asks, for the skilling pets, would you consider a red or orange themed phoenix as the fire making pet?
Yes. I saw that yesterday and forgot to add it to the poll today. But yeah, we can stick that one on. If they're passing, I don't know what they're at the minute. Anyone happen to?
Honest
I'd-
has a
I'd-
Phoenix pet, don't they?
I think they were over 80%
Well, they've got a
earlier.
Phoenix quest where you get feathers and you can summon stuff at the end of it.
Right, okay.
My only, I'm not saying it's a complaint, but possibly not the most exciting skill in the game is probably going to get one of the most badass looking pets.
Well, incentive to train it is, an incentive, no matter what that incentive is.
You would get the pet when the log actually stops burning as well, from the ashes.
It's a bit harsh.
You just sit there and watch them burn out.
By the way, guys, you can currently vote on whether you'd like to see skilling pets in the game. We have the question for wood cutting, mining, fishing.
Yeah, we have a heron for fishing, a rock golem for mining, baby chinchompa for hunter, and a beaver, the honey
Yes.
badger model, I think. There is a beaver model for woodcutting. They already exist.
The honey badger model's in use elsewhere in Old School, down in the
Badger,
swamps.
badger.
Well, there's mushrooms and there's snakes, so of course we had to have a badger.
Yeah, all we need for these is some graphics. I made the dev in July
Yeah.
in my test room.
Next question. Can you explain exactly how skilling pets will work? So there have been a couple suggestions here that they should be ridiculously challenging because, hear me out, boss pets, you have to put in the effort. First of all, it takes skill to actually kill a boss versus lighting fires. You have to spend your money on your supplies. Right? It takes a while to get there and back. So they're saying skilling should be absurdly difficult and rare, like 1 in 100,000.
I'm not going to release the numbers that I've got penciled at the minute, but I actually have spreadsheets full of data that worked out average XP rates based on what you'd be doing to 99, based on what you're getting, what you're actually training on as well, and it refactors drop rates based on that. They are going to be incredibly rare, but I would make the argument that just because, going to bosses has a different process, that just because they have pets, you're no longer you are not going to go there anyway. They're just a cosmetic bonus. They're an additional drop, so what skilling should work the same, but they are going to be immensely rare. Okay. You can easily go 1 to 99 and not get one.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. But just the same, I look forward to seeing the level 4 noobs mine 4 rocks and get a pet. That's what makes this so fun. It's RNG, that's what it's all about.
Awesome. All right. Ivo asks, can Puro implings have a chance of giving clue scrolls? Do they need a buff?
They don't need one, but that's a nice idea.
Code supports it easily enough.
Okay. This will be an interesting one for the chat. Concept asks, can we have the ability to manipulate puzzle boxes, with our arrow keys instead of having to click?
With some engine work.
All right. It's an easy one. Fork asks, will the death mechanics be reverted back to normal soon, and how will we know?
We will tell you. How?
Copiously, we will tell you.
We will tell you over and over and over and over again, everywhere that we possibly can, in game, out of game. I mean, it is the big thing to change that we want people to know about. So
I think we were talking about having one just on the big login page. There's going to be a big message there.
A login page which just comes up, which just says we've changed it, and a tick button next to it. So you have to tick on that to get into game would be ideal as well.
Should give them
so
a
you
captcha.
Can't avoid not to. Oh well, no, I hate those bloody things. They're terrible.
Are you sure you read this?
10 captures.
I was trying to contact somebody the other day, another game company, and they had a capture on it. It took me about 8 times to actually read what it said.
If we ever do a clue school expansion, there's one new puzzle. Some hard captures.
Instead of a capture, force them to type, I understand death has been reverted, and anything I lose is my own responsibility. And make them tell that and see if they ever log in again.
I like captures. So I was on Ticketmaster yesterday and got one. It's Leave Britney Alone.
Yes.
Back when they had the fatigue system in the Classic, I remember they took a dictionary to generate all the captures from, and added a few extra words like lumbridge and vrock, which just turn up in the list occasionally. And I think they took out a few words, because it turned out it's a dictionary of some of the vulgar words as well. And then somebody pointed out that having the word dyslexic in the middle of a word, as a word you're trying to read, might be considered a little offensive. So that got removed as well.
Yes.
How effective are captures?
Very, if they're the right ones. The bad ones don't. When we talked about this recently, see the web team. The bad ones don't do anything. The good ones, which I think Google have just made a very good one, which I think is on our site now. I think it's gone live on our site. I have to make a new account.
Picture of grass.
New account. No, it's basically the way it works is there is some special thing where you just, if you're a human, you just click a tick box and it goes on, but it does other stuff in the background to check how you click and stuff. But they're very good. I think that's really boring for you guys. I'm sorry.
Someone said my language. Stop itching your beard.
Yeah, no, I'm growing it.
Yeah, but can you grow it more quietly? You've got a microphone there, you know.
It's okay.
Next question. Again from Concept, he asks, can... I missed something?
So no, I'll carry on. It's not happening. Show must go on.
It got deleted from the chat, don't worry.
Can Ava be added to the NPC contact spell?
Purpose?
Are they suggesting that she'd be capable of selling things remotely through it?
Yeah.
Well, actually, I did discover earlier that if you contact the Dark Mage via NPC contact and ask him for your small pouch, he can give you it.
Really?
Yes. Yeah. He's a mage.
That's fair.
And he's in an abyss.
Does Ava have these magical powers?
She's a ranger.
She could shoot it at you.
I think, given what we did to Ava to let you get as many of the things as you need at a time and stockpile them, there's a limit to how much further we need to go to help people who need another right this minute.
Yeah, I'm on board with that.
Yeah.
Next question. Back to the death mechanics again. What about gravestones alongside the old death mechanics? So kind of a...
Kind of not the old death mechanics.
Yeah.
Again, players want it, but I don't think they do.
Yeah, I will eat that camera right there if that was to pass a poll.
Guys, can you please vote for...
It will be televised,
Okay.
But from a different camera.
both the ins and outs.
We've got to back up. Sorry. Finvez asks, is that Monster Examine update coming to poll anytime soon? That one that describes to us the monster's weaknesses and whatnot.
I like that. We can't get everything on the next poll always, even if it is a popular thing, because there's quite a lot of other things that people wanted for the next poll as well, some of which have been waiting a while. So sometimes we do have to just cut and say even a good idea will have to wait longer. But I do want to do that one. Not least of which is anything good for Lunar Spellbook is good in my book.
Okay. Whodat asks, what's Old School's release schedule looking like for the next few months?
Watch Runefest. Watch Runefest.
Yeah. Couple weeks.
Couple of weeks.
Or turn up.
I'll turn up. Well, if you got a ticket, you can't get a ticket now because I think we're sold out.
Yeah, that's true.
So watch Runefest.
Watch Runefest. It'll be on this channel.
Before Runefest, though, we will have some content out.
It's like a
once we
TV
share that.
station, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It'll be on this channel.
Next week will be... I've got no idea.
We're getting close to the Abyssal Sire.
Yeah, Abyssal Sire is just before Runefest, if I remember correctly. Next week will be just the final few features from Poll 35, and the Max Cape will be soon. TM.
Yeah.
I started answering that question knowing none of the answers. That was terrible. I'm sorry.
Well done.
Tim asks, can the Infernal Pickaxe be buffed to work on Motherlode Mine?
I wouldn't have thought you'd want it to work there.
Yeah.
Quite easily, if that were actually desirable.
We chose specifically not to have it work there.
Yeah.
So.
Has been one
That's a
request
no.
that we give it a sort of toggle, to turn it on and off, so that you can just choose to have it act like a normal dragon pickaxe, or enable the ability and have it start incinerating your ores again. Reason being, people sometimes want the ability when they're on the lower grade stuff, but they don't want it to incinerate their runite. So if we did that, then we could enable it in Motherlode Mine, and the people who think that's a good thing can turn it on, and everyone else can turn it off.
Okay.
Might even be able to give it a different toggle setting for each kind of ore.
Should we just quickly address this one from the chat of why was the remove furniture thing removed from the poll? And that's simply because if it had went in the game, the construction XP per hour would have skyrocketed, perhaps over 1 million an hour.
Yeah, it would have been a 20 to 30% increase, a needless increase as well. I mean, construction is upwards of 600k an hour already, and as much as I can believe that a lot of you would like it to get faster because it's incredibly tedious to train, it's a needless change. And the question didn't quite make that clear either. It was just, would you like to not have this warning message rather than would you like construction to become 25% faster?
Okay. Peter asks, can the click compass to face north feature remember the camera elevation?
Yes, it can. We got that engine feature recently.
Yeah.
We couldn't actually work out whether it should or not when we were releasing the thing, though.
Yeah, I remember we talked about it.
And because when you click it, it's normally meant to just show you the best possible angle to see where you are and what you're doing, which means if it's pointing vertically down, that's not very helpful, and if it's pointing horizontally, there'll probably be a tree in the way. So we went with something that was likely to be safe in all cases. We could, of course, go down the route of having a toggle.
It could be a second right-click option. A second right-click option for click north.
Yeah.
Remember elevation.
Very easy.
Yeah,
Have you dropped something?
No, it's just a stone.
Why have you got a stone?
I haven't, it's on the ground there.
Oh, right.
Okay. This is a weird Q&A.
It's very odd, isn't it?
He even asks, instead of tweeting the drop rates for all new items, can we keep them a secret? I prefer a little mystery, keeps it more fun.
We don't really do them that early, do we?
No, we always wait 2-3 weeks or something.
Yeah, I actually annoy quite a few people by how long I make them wait.
In fact, I think we're still waiting on Cerberus.
Yeah.
Today.
Yeah, Maz will release those later on today, so go give her a follow at JXMaz. The only reason I really keep them a secret is to be a little bit annoying and to not affect the economy, because prices fluctuate a lot when something's just come out, and if you know how rare it is, it does affect the price, and I'd rather not do that.
I mean, if you don't want to know, you don't have to go and look it up
It's true.
as well.
That's a fair point, isn't it? All right. Sugar asks, that's asking about the in-game bug report option, which is in-game now. Loma asks, can red dragons be looked at? They're currently considered dead content.
Yeah.
What
They're not too
would
exciting.
Yeah.
you like done to them? Like more drops or something? We can make them a Slayer task. For what good that would do.
Probably
More
not
of them
much.
easier to get to, I don't know. I mean, that's the thing, what they want to do to them to make them interesting, isn't it?
We've got
Queen Red Dragon.
We've got a lot more of them than we used to. So they could certainly become a Slayer task.
We could put them in the wilderness like the green dragons are, then people might have a reason to go there. And it's close to the bank-ish.
I think Red Dragon Isle did
I'm
that,
pretty
we
sure
took
they
them
are
out,
too.
didn't we,
Yeah.
to replace them with lava dragons, didn't we?
What
that's right.
what we could do is, if you complete, I think, the Elite Corangen Diary, you can get Noted Hides as a drop. I can happily move that to the easy reward. Or even medium or hard.
Or, as somebody just said in the chat, have them drop Red Dragon Claws.
Don't. Oh. Tried to stop you. Okay.
We won't do that, don't worry.
Novate asks, can the feature that tells us how much the items in our inventory are worth also tell us the items in our looting bags worth? That makes sense?
Does? Can we do it? I assume we probably can.
Anything's
Like the price
possible.
checker.
Yes.
Probably. The code I wrote for jewellery can be adapted to quite a lot of things.
Yeah.
There's your answer.
It's kind of rounded a bit if you've got, say, stupidly large numbers of stacks of things, but I don't think that's such an issue for the looting bag.
Okay. Discord asks, can you add a price tracker to the trade screen?
Same answer.
Yeah, I mean, talk about trading and anti-scamming stuff. There's a fair bit of work going on internally on scamming stuff at the moment. So hopefully get some answers, and we can see if we can do a few extra things to help with people getting scammed and whatnot. Which will help with the trade thing. Will be a good help with that as well. Price checker would.
All right. Here's an interesting idea pitched from Rogan, who asks, can Zulrah's drops be affected by your skill levels, woodcutting, fishing, etc.? What I gather from this is that you shouldn't receive a shark drop unless you have the fishing level to fish a shark.
It's an idea. I don't think it makes an awful lot of sense when it boils down to it, because you don't use those skills to kill Zulrah. I mean, I can see where they're coming from, but it doesn't seem to make much sense, really.
I would feel this wouldn't also only need to apply to Zulrah, but every other boss.
Yeah, exactly. I think there's better options. I mean, I assume he wants something to be done if Zulrah is causing issues with the items coming into game, which we need to check first. But once we know, I'm sure there are better solutions out there than that one.
We could always make Zulrah a bit less predictable.
It's an interesting idea. We appreciate that, but maybe not the idea that's put in the game.
Would make sense if it were a skilling boss, perhaps. The rewards are given out based on your level and the damage you're doing to it, maybe. Using your skills.
All right.
So
Think
certainly
on that one.
something we can use in future, certainly.
Dahan asks, can you delete posts on the updates on forums that are simply #clan name? I find it annoying scrolling through the first couple of pages of players advertising their clan before reading actual feedback.
Yeah, we do.
We started doing this. Yeah.
Yeah,
Those posts will now be hidden.
that's a yes. Okay. All right, Fizzin asks, can we get an elite void helm and gloves simply to match visually? So
Makes
cosmetic?
sense, yeah.
Void helm, did you say?
Elite void helm and elite void gloves.
Be nice to have. I mean, if they're not cosmetic, I think we run into issues, but as long as
Well,
they
it
look
would, certainly
pretty,
wouldn't make it even better.
Yeah.
It would, yeah.
that's much to make it look pretty.
It would be required though for the set effect, or the normal
Don't know.
would do better.
Who knows? Who knows? Needs a bit of thinking, that does, but
What do you
it
think,
can be
Alfie?
done. It's always
Yeah, it
nice
can be
to
done.
Yeah.
look pretty in it, I think. In game.
Yeah, Fashionscape.
Fashionscape,
We're all
definitely.
about that.
Yeah.
Matt really likes looking pretty.
I like looking pretty.
Twitch Twins asks, is the version of Deadman mode being shown at RuneFest the final product? Or is it still
Fashion
being...
voice rash.
Oh, sorry. What was
Sorry. Carry on.
The version of Deadman mode that we're showing at RuneFest,
Yeah.
will it be the final product?
No.
It's a beta. The idea is that the people at RuneFest get to play it and tell us what to fix.
Yeah.
So therefore there will be scope for changes to be made.
Absolutely.
Which is also why we haven't given it a confirmed release date for Deadman mode, because it depends what changes we end up making after RuneFest.
And the way Dead Man Mode works is we've got the basic principles of what Dead Man Mode is, and then we've got all the bits of content around the edges. You know, what mini games should be involved, what they shouldn't be involved, how we're going to take out certain areas, and how we're going to change things to make things look better. And all that stuff's not going to be there for the beta, but hopefully the core stuff will all be in there, so we can get an idea of how it's going to work.
I see they're quite interested in the way we pronounce the word beta. Yeah. How would you pronounce it?
Beta.
Beta.
I also say melee instead of melee.
Also say route instead of route.
Occasionally I say route, sometimes I say route.
Yeah. I had a discussion about this the other day.
Maybe we need more betas.
Yeah.
I think they all agree with me, it's alright. Catboy asks, can you add an option to turn off view bobbing on fishing trawler? It's making me nauseous.
We actually laughed about it earlier. I was on the fishing trawler boat while it went live just to see what happened, and I was thinking, this is going to make me seasick if I watch it any longer.
Do you think it's because the screen's resizable now and it's a lot more immersive than it used to be?
Possibly, yeah.
Maybe we could put a toggle on it, which is a sick bag on the side, and they have to go to do an emote into the bag to stop it from wobbling.
Yes. Yes. Or maybe if you are allowed to drink that keg of beer from the Fremnik area, it cancels it out for the journey.
Yes.
I like that idea. We should do that.
Major Laser has a suggestion. He says, can you make marble player-owned house portals heal you like Clan Wars portals? Says effective quality of life and gold sync.
Can you upgrade your portal to anything at the moment?
You have to remove it and rebuild it.
Yeah, which requires you to have another portal somewhere in the house. That's going to be nice.
I think it's more the teleportation portals.
Oh, that kind of thing. Ooh.
Yeah, stick it on top of the other stuff as a high level thing. Makes sense. A bit more content for the end level, which is
I
never a bad
completely
thing.
missed what the suggestion was.
Restore energy and hit points when you go through.
yes.
The Clan Wars effect.
Yeah.
Full restoration.
Yeah, I think as an addition to high level construction stuff, makes sense to do that.
On the other hand, if we go down the route of letting the Nada shrine to Elid Innis, whatever her name is, restore your run energy, then they'd get the teleport to a place which restores this stuff that isn't Clan Wars and is a diary reward to boot, which might be another thing we might want to reward them for.
That's true.
All right. Another suggestion here. This one's from Lethal. This is a complete game changer. Can't wait to see everyone's reaction to this one. Ready? All right. Can the examine option on a key tell you what the key is used for?
That was a massive letdown, Chris. It could.
I think the examine option right now just says a key.
Yeah.
Or a dusty key.
Yeah.
It could be done, I'm sure.
Yes.
I wouldn't particularly
RS3 did
mind.
it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't particularly mind doing it. So.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay. Zach asks, can you add a skip option in Bounty Hunter instead of having to log in and out if you want to skip your target? As somebody who enjoys Bounty Hunter, this is a fantastic idea.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, no, that should be fine. I can't see any issue with that at all.
You'd still have to give you the penalty for...
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Okay. Related, Doc asks, can the timer after dying to your target in Bounty Hunter be shortened? Currently it's like 5 or 6 minutes. If you die to your target, you have to sit and wait.
We'd need to look at how people are using it at the moment. So if it makes it easier to abuse it, then no. But I don't know if it does make it easier to abuse it or how people are using it. So we probably need to have a look at that first before we sort of say, yes, that's a good idea. All boils down to whether it's good or bad for Bounty Hunter. If it's good for Bounty Hunter, yes. If it's bad for Bounty Hunter, no. We need to look at that.
Good point. Iron says, why is Neve's Cave being so why is Neve's Cave being expanded so much? Can we spread the Slayer content elsewhere as well?
I think it's because when people want more spawns for a Slayer, they want them in a place that's task only, otherwise they'll just be filled with people grinding all the time. Right. So Neve's Cave is the place which is task only. That said, we can always have rules saying that somewhere else is task only if we wanted to. Neve just happens to be the person who's enforcing it at the moment. Like we did Cerberus as task only, we just didn't need to put in Neve's Caves to achieve that.
We did limit the new spawns as well. You couldn't use a cannon there. There are much better places to go for your black demons, your blue dragons, and your black dragons as well.
Yep. It's also worth noting, aside from the Abyssal Sire that's coming out soon, TM, that is the bulk of the Slayer updates out of the way.
All of it now,
yeah. Yeah, just one Sire left and we're done.
Yep. Yeah, no, I can't see any more Slayer updates happening in the next 12 months, I wouldn't imagine we'll see many of them at all.
We were a little surprised to find so much demand for Slayer updates in the priority poll a year ago.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of it, so we have done this big batch of Slayer updates.
Absolutely, yeah.
But I think that'll hold you for a bit.
Yes, indeed.
You can confidently say you've delivered on that promise.
Yes.
All right. Agile asks, can Fishing Trawler receive other incentive for players to keep it active once everyone's already got the outfit?
Such as
Yeah. Feel free
you've
to
got
suggest
ideas,
any
yeah.
ideas.
Yes, yeah, that's what it boils down to, isn't it?
I mean, it's not like everybody in the game plays it immediately, gets the outfit, and then they're done with it.
no, it takes
Not everybody learns about it the first day.
6 hours.
Yeah, roughly just over 6 hours, I'd imagine.
I mean,
on
obviously,
average.
there's going to be a huge amount more people there today than there will be next week or the week after. But there should still be a decent, steady flow of people going to get their outfit for the foreseeable future.
Okay. John asks, what will happen to the smoke battle staff if the buff does not pass the poll?
Does anyone know what it's at the minute?
75, I think.
It was on 74.6 last I looked.
Probably go up a bit then. They normally go up a bit.
Might do. Well, quite simply, if people would like a different kind of buff instead, then we can do that. Being a fair bit of support for, rather than just focusing on that one staff, focus on all the Mystic staffs or all the combination staffs. All these things are available to us to do. We just started with something simple in the hope that it might actually pass, and it's kind of pretty close as is. But we could do something else with if people prefer, or leave the idea alone and do something else instead.
Perhaps if we do visit the idea of introducing new spells, it could be more useful there. Who knows?
There was one suggestion that we do something smoke related to it, since there are smoke spells on the Ancient Magics book. The thing is, we didn't go there because Ancient Magics is plenty popular as is, and also if you're going to do anything with that, you'd probably want the Ancient Staff rather than the Smoke Battle Staff. So we didn't try that this time, but we could have done.
Okay. Freeze asks, can we have the ability to right-click reset on a trap instead of having to pick it up and do so?
I thought box traps actually did have a lay
You can.
option when they're on the
You
ground.
just right-click lay.
That's when they're dropped.
Oh yeah, if
Yeah,
it
to
fails.
reset.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
That could be done. Let's run it past Ian, seeing as he wrote the skill.
How much easier does that make it?
It's
It would increase XP rates. Perhaps not that much of an increase though.
if it's a right click rather than left click, it's the same amount of clicks. Probably save a tick per trap if because you haven't got to actually move the mouse.
Seeing a lot of support in the chat.
Good.
Interesting idea.
Good.
All right. Chief Iron asks, can redirection scrolls be repulled for Iron Man? It's been a while since we've asked this. Why not?
I mean, we'll do another repoll, near miss poll at some point,
Yeah.
but not anytime soon.
It's a fairly common thing that that the Iron Men would like us to repoll these things because they're confident it would pass, and a lot of other players don't want Iron Men to have it so easy.
Why did we restrict redirection in the first place?
We restricted Nightmare Zone rewards.
Right.
Redirection scrolls happen to be in there, but that one we said, okay, we'll consider making that one available because we don't mind that one much. Whereas all the resources we would have minded.
Yeah.
Anything hand in hand with Iron Man is almost like the Pure update or the Pure question we had in this poll about the Blessed You had chaps. There's a lot of
48% last time.
just a lot of
Wow.
no's that follow.
More nose than pennies.
Really
Yeah.
don't like pures, do they?
Yeah. That's
It's
not
been
linked to very
suggested that we
much.
should restrict it so that only pures can vote on pure questions, only Iron Men can vote on Iron Men questions, and only noobs can vote on noob questions or whatever. We haven't done this.
No.
We're not really planning to.
No.
Okay. Rune asks, when can we expect to see the new additions to the old school team?
I don't know. We've had 7 interviews so far, haven't we? There's more interviews to come. I think we're inviting 1, 2, 3, 5 of them to take part in a trial, and then bringing some more people in. So the quickest it's going to be is 6 weeks. That's the upshot of it all. But we've got interviewed 7. We've got another 12 people to look through, which have been sent through this week. So the people are coming in thick and fast. So quickest 6 weeks, but it will take as long as it takes to get the right people.
Should be
Even once,
before the end of the year.
even once we've offered somebody a job and they've accepted, they often have to, move house, which is not a quick thing.
Yeah.
And Cambridge accommodation isn't always as easy to get hold of as you might wish.
Indeed.
All right. Anishan, what are your thoughts on creating a new free-to-play boss?
Nah.
Not many.
Yeah. Overly exciting.
There are many things we can do with the dev time available to us. Adding more to free-to-play isn't high on a priority list, to be honest.
I mean, free to play is. I mean, years and years ago, free to play used to be the big thing that made people come into RuneScape. It's not the case anymore. People don't stay in free to play and play free to play long term. They go into free to play and they almost come straight away into members. So putting end game free to play content in doesn't really make an awful lot of sense from a commercial side, certainly. And there's not a huge amount of players that would experience it either. One thing I had an idea about years ago, this was, and I think it's still quite a good idea that we could potentially do, is we could have certain periods of time where members' content is available in free to play. So, for example, you would have a whole load of members' monsters attack Varrock over a weekend, and players can experience that and do it that way, which I thought was a fun idea. Might never do it, but that's what I had years ago. On the list of things we could do.
All right, last question here from the sheet before we look to the chat for a few. Brandon asks, any thoughts on adding the Amulet of Ranging or Royal Dragon Hide?
Royal Dragon Hide, I can't remember where it sits. I think it's
65.
Yeah, but that was after the rebalance, wasn't it? We'd have to rebalance the way range armor currently works to find somewhere between Armador and Black Dragon Hide for it. So I would kind of just want to say no.
Yeah, I didn't like Royal D-Hide at all.
The Amulet of Ranging was in the sailing design, so we'll likely get offered at some point, either as part of a sailing repo if we do that next year.
There's definitely room for jewellery
and
stuff that sacrifices the defence and prayer bonuses of like the Fury for possibly slightly higher attack bonuses, that sort of thing.
Okay, cool.
Interesting question down here by Kiwut, some strange name, asking if we can make skilling pets random event driven so bots can't have them. I think that's, not necessarily random events given, but something to combat bots just botting it.
Well, bots might get them every now and then, but then they'll get banned.
Yeah, probably that's true. I think.
Given how rare they are, I think they'll get banned before they get one.
I would hope so, yeah. Most of them would be.
Because everyone knows the random events can be solved by bots.
Yeah. There we go, answers that one.
There's another question there from Percy Derp. Will skilling pets be free to play? No, all pets are members only.
Does Mod Ash have anything in his mug?
Yes, you can have it.
That's really okay.
No? Okay. It's a tea bag.
I wonder if there's any tea left in there.
Oh, there's some tea left, yes.
Dodgy Butcher asked, what happened with the new website design you guys were showing a couple of months back?
We couldn't get... it was one of those cases where the changes to it were not wholly agreed to by the community, and obviously we didn't want to sort of pursue that further, knowing that you guys didn't really want much changing.
It really tied down to people just saying this doesn't fit the retro feel of Old School.
Yeah, absolutely. So it was a great exercise for us and for the web guys working on it to sort of work with the community to understand what it was like, but it just wasn't going to mesh properly. It wasn't going to be what you guys wanted. So I think we left it there.
Right. Soul Taken asks, what's the difference between Deadman and Darkscape?
Oh, I put a post out yesterday with all the listing. I've got to see if I got. Hang on. I've probably got it written down somewhere.
Minute.
Come back to me.
We have 1 minute, Matt.
Oh, have you? All right. Okay. From memory. Okay. So, Deadman mode Darkscape. Is much more about the collection of resources and getting them back safely before you get killed, and moving resources around the game map. Because obviously the banks are only localised. They only work for themselves. They don't work across the entire world. Same with the GE. I think there's 3 different GEs. They're all local as well, so you can't trade things from one side to another side. There's also, in the safer areas, there is a limit on who you can attack. So like in the wilderness, you have a limit of combat levels you can attack. The same thing happens there in Darkscape as well, until you get to the dangerous area where it is much more, there's no cap on there. Deadman mode, effectively, you die and you lose everything. And that's the big difference. You die, you lose 50% of your XP. Someone's going to take practically everything of value out your bank. So the death mechanics are really harsh. So you're not going to go out there and try and kill people, because if you die, you're going to lose an awful lot. So it's a completely different sort of game system will happen there. And that's the major differences between it. From memory. Read the post I put on Reddit, 'cause it's much better worded on that.
All right. I think that about wraps up the Q&A today.
Not yet.
Yep.
No? Talking.
No. Okay. Will there be a companion app for Old School?
Probably not.
That was a quick one.
Yeah.
I did see a suggestion from the chat high-level prayers that boost skilling rates. And I like that idea.
It's been asked before.
Like, increase the chance of you finding the ore or catching a fish, that sort of thing.
Yeah, especially if you're using prayer points to do it at the same time, so like overhead prayers, and then it adds an extra thing of cost to it as well.
Yeah.
Which would be quite interesting.
Everyone's telling me to restart Ash.
Okay.
I'm done now.
That was worth it, yeah.
Good. Okay, guys. Q&A is over. Well, thank you for watching. Give the stream a follow if you enjoyed, and we'll see you next Thursday.
Okay.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.